Hey, what is going on, guys? It's DK. Back at you with another video here to bring the 6-game NBA main slate on Monday. Before I get in the video, because you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is DK. I make daily videos and live stream for NBA and NFL slates on Draftkings. If you guys are playing the Monday night slate, there's a 2-gamer. I just made a video breaking down that one. We also have the Showdown slate, and then we have games on Tuesday as well. 2 games. No games on Wednesday as it stands right now, but you never know. Maybe one game gets postponed to Wednesday. So it's kind of nice to have NFL games on almost every single day this week. If you guys are unable to watch these videos, I also upload an Apple Podcast. Link is down below. It's called the DK DFS Show. If you're interested in signing up for premium content, I offer a couple different packages on Patreon.com. NBA and NFL cover the main and the Showdown slates. The sponsor of today's video is Prize Picks. Prize Picks, guys, is a player prop site where you can take over/under on fantasy points, over/under on straight-up points, over/under on rebounds, assists, 3-pointers made. You can pick 2 to 5 players and run up to 10x your money. You can mix and match sports too, and they do it basically every single sport you can think of: NFL, college, esports, golf. So if you guys want to try out Prize Picks, make sure to sign up and use my code DKDFS. It's DKDFS, all one word. You get a 100% match up to $100. So basically, if you deposit using my code $100, you will get a free $100 to play with on the site. And finally, as always, I want to thank you guys for all of your continued support on this YouTube channel, whether it be the videos, the live streams, or on Twitter. I can't thank you guys enough. Make sure if you guys do enjoy those, just to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell as always. Okay, so before we get into players and the prices, let's take a look back lineup here from tonight. So tonight, we will see if I can get in the cash my lineup of Haliburton, D'Lo, Brooks, Metu, Nurkic, Rondo, LeBron, and DeAndre Jordan. So I originally had Maxey there. I had LeBron in the guard spot at Maxey. I pivoted to a lower owned Rondo. It's not looking great right now. But yeah, Haliburton was great. Brooks was really good at low ownership. Metu is fine. Did get benched though. Nurkic was disappointing. That was super frustrating. 7 turnovers for a low-owned Nurkic was very, very tilting. LeBron, DeAndre Jordan, and then, yeah, Rondo has been a little bit of a disappointment so far. But that's where my lineup is as it stands. This is the Hall of Famer. Ownership in the Hall of Famer. Haliburton, almost 100% owned. Metu was 100% owned. DeAndre Jordan was popular. LeBron got 33% ownership. Let's see what else. Buddy Hield is a little bit tilted about this. I faded chalk Buddy Hield. It was looking really good into that fourth quarter or third quarter when Haliburton got in massive foul trouble. So then Buddy Hield took over and just would not stop shooting and would not stop making shots. So that was pretty tilting from a guy who faded Buddy Hield. But yeah, the Kings were very, very popular, and that was what I was hammering on Patreon. It's like, you want to probably load up in the Kings for cash games. In general, like, they were just underpriced for the amount of minutes they were going to play. Okay, so let's talk about this 6-gamer, and the first game is in doubt of whether or not it plays because the Philly game today actually got postponed, so we'll keep an eye on this one for Philadelphia. But as it stands right now, no Simmons, no Drummond, no Milton. Tyrese Maxey is questionable. We have Danny Green is questionable. We have Furkan Korkmaz probably going to be questionable as well. So the Sixers, if the game plays, is probably going to be pretty short-handed. So I'll start with Joel Embiid at the top at 11-6. If he ends up playing, I think he's a decent contrarian spend up just because he's probably going to have to do everything for this offense. And they would have Tobias Harris too. He's at 8.7K, though that price doesn't really stand out. Other options for Philadelphia, again, it's hard to say right now because we have a lot of question marks with Maxey, Green, and Korkmaz. If they're all out, then maybe Thibault could become viable for value. Maybe Isaiah Joe becomes playable. We'll have to see who exactly is available for Philly. So as it stands right now, it's really hard to say. On the Boston side, so Boston, we have Jason Tatum questionable, we have and Dennis Schroeder questionable. That's pretty significant. If both those guys are out, it's going to make Jaylen Brown make for a pretty good spend up. Now, the minutes have slowly been ticking up on him, 30, 33, 32. And if there's no Tatum, he gets a pretty big bump there. So he would look good if both those guys are out. If Tatum's out and Schroeder's in, I like Schroeder, who probably has to play mid-30s minutes. Marcus Smart, he was not great last game, 13 fantasy points. He does have a low floor, but if both Schroeder and Jason Tatum are out, he's going to look better. He's already playing big minutes. Robert Williams at 5'7", I think, is a fair play. They're going to need him to guard Joel Embiid if he plays. The only issue really would be foul trouble. So no issue going to Robert Williams, but he's been a little bit disappointing this year from a fantasy point per minute standpoint. And yeah, if like Tatum and Schroeder are both in, then I don't know if there's one like standout play here for the Boston side. The Tatum at 10.5 feels a little bit too pricey. Houston and Chicago. So we'll start with Christian Wood at the top at 8.8K. It's a pretty good spot here against the Bulls. In a competitive game, he probably plays low to mid 30s minutes. So I think he's a decent contrarian spend up now. Again, still no John Wall, still no KPJ. Jalen Green is still out. Armani Brooks' status is up in the air. Last game when Armani Brooks was out, they started Josh Christopher. He's 3.9K. If he would start, I like him for value. He's been good. He was good in the Summer League too, and I was talking about it from the beginning of the season. I was really surprised that he was not in the regular rotation from how good he looked in the Summer League. So it's good that he's finally getting his opportunities because, in my opinion, he might be better than Jalen Green. So I like Josh Christopher. If he starts, I think he's a good value play. Eric Gordon at 5.7 does have some upside, but still has a relatively low floor. Can be score independent. He'll play some point guard. If Armani Brooks is out. Garrison Matthews at 4.8, well, the minutes are there for him. It's just whether or not he can make his shots. So he's more of a GP only play for me. Jay Sean Tate at 6.1 feels priced about right. Like he's going to play around 30 minutes. And that's probably it. Like KJ Martin's been getting some decent minutes off the bench. And then you have Sengun, who is just priced up too much right now, 5.9K. Not getting enough run for me to consider him there. All right, on the Chicago side. So Levine is still out. We have DeRozan, Vooch, Lonzo, and from looking at the game tonight, it didn't look like they limited DeRozan's minutes at all. So these three are going to play big minutes, and they should dominate the usage. I think all three are firmly in play. Probably my favorite point per dollar being Lonzo, but yeah, Vucevic should be able to have his way against Wood, and DeRozan is going to be probably the go-to guy on offense. So all three of those guys look pretty good. Caruso started. He's kind of a do-it-all guy. I think he's a pretty safe play in the mid-range. Derek Jones Jr. got injured tonight. So don't expect him to be available tomorrow. Should be more minutes for a guy like Kobe White. Javonte Green started the game. I think he's a fair value play at almost min price. All right, OKC and Memphis. So OKC, surprisingly, like one of the healthiest teams right now in the league. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 8.6K. I mean, the positive is the minutes. So he's going to play about 35 to 38 minutes. Now, as I've said with Shai this year, the floor is a little bit lower because, at times he's not going to handle the ball as much this year, right, with Josh Giddey in the lineup. So Shai, I think, is a viable tournament play for me. Josh Giddey, the price has come up on him. He's played really well last couple of games, but it kind of feels like you're chasing. So, I like Josh Giddey as a player, but he's at, an all-time high now here at 7.2K, so I don't know if I want to pay that price point for him. Lou Dort feels a little bit pricey. The other guys here on OKC, they're just viable tournament plays, like Baisley, or like Robinson Earl. Again, if you want to mess with the center rotation like Favors, I don't trust this Thunder rotation. So hard to feel really excited about any of those guys. Moving on to Memphis. So Dylan Brooks came through for me in a big way. Now I think he'll be pretty popular after the game he had tonight. The box score's not up yet on Draftkings. We almost at a 50 bomb. He's just going to shoot the ball a ton. Right? He's a black hole. He's going to shoot it 20 plus times most likely. So you got to have interest in Dylan Brooks. I think Triple J, as always, is in play for GPPs. Still has a low floor because of foul trouble risk, but a high ceiling, and this is a good spot. Desmond Bane, I forget what he finished with tonight. I think he had a kind of disappointing game, but other than tonight, he's been pretty consistent, and at 6.1K is a fair price point. Tyus Jones will handle the ball a decent amount. Should play low to mid 30s minutes. I think a fair play in the mid range. And Steven Adams has been consistently playing around 30 minutes. It's a revenge game narrative for him. He has a pretty high floor, good rebounder. So like the starting five there for the Grizzlies. All right, moving on to Charlotte and Utah. So Charlotte just got destroyed tonight, or are getting destroyed. I don't think they made a comeback. Let me just check. They were down by 30, I think. Yeah, it's 117 to 81. It's a blowout. So not the best spot here against Utah. It's going to be hard for me to feel really good about any of these guys. I think LaMelo is a viable contrarian spend up. He can still have a big game in a not-so-good matchup. But the rest of the wings, like Bridges, Oubre, Hayward, Rozier's at 6.5, nothing really stands out to me. If you want to take a shot on one of these guys for low ownership, you can. But it's not something I love. Moving on to Utah. So Conley's back. We have Mitchell at almost 10K. Feels a little bit too pricey for him. Gobert at 9.2 feels about right. It is a good spot here against the Charlotte front court, but again, the price is not standing out to me. And then with them being fully healthy, they're all kind of secondary plays in Conley, Clarkson, Bogdanovich, O'Neal. I do think you can take a shot on Whiteside if there's not a lot of value that opens up. In a competitive game, he probably plays around 15 minutes, but more if the game blows out. So I think Whiteside's a viable contrarian value option. Sacramento, Golden State. So Sacramento, once again, very short-handed here. We'll keep an eye on Holmes. He was ruled out tonight. He was questionable. If he's out again, it's going to make Tristan Thompson a decent value. Him and Damian Jones split the center minutes, and Damian Jones actually had a really big game at the flat man price. So those two centers would be in play for value. And really, the starting five looks really good here. Halliburton, 7K. He's been the go-to guy so far on offense. I think he looks great at that price. Harrison Barnes, revenge game narrative. He should play mid-30s minutes. Again, Buddy Hield, probably the riskiest of the bunch because he's score independent, but the upside's there. We just saw it from him tonight. When he gets hot, he can go for 40+. And then Chesney Metu, surprisingly, did not play down the stretch, but he's been good point-per-minute guy, stuff in the stat sheet. So I am pretty high in the whole starting five here for Sacramento. And then Mo Harkless, I think, got a decent amount of run here. Let me check on that because, again, it's not updated yet. I'm curious to see how many minutes he got off the bench. I believe he played the most off the bench. Yeah, you had Harkless play 32 minutes off the bench. He only had 4 points, 2 boards, and 1 assist. So Harkless probably gets the most minutes off the bench, but again, not a good point per minute guy at all. Moving on to Golden State. So Golden State, we might have some value here. Wiggins out, Poole out, Clay still out, Wiseman still out. So we'll start with Steph Curry at 11-8 in a match break on Sacramento. I know he's been struggling, but now you got no Jordan Poole. Now you have no Andrew Wiggins. Steph's going to have to carry the load a little bit more here. So sure, the price point is hard to get behind, but if there's enough value that opens up, I'm fine going him for tournaments. Draymond Green at 7-1 also might have to do a little bit more on the offensive end. I think he's a fair play, but then we have value here. The tricky part is this is Steve Kerr. So right, what most likely happens is we all, kind of gravitate towards some Golden State value, and then he runs a 15-man rotation, and no one ends up paying off their salary. But with Wiggins out, my assumption is that Otto Porter Jr. starts at 3.7. If he does, I think he makes for a good play. We probably get more minutes for a guy like, where's Iguodala? Iguodala's at 3.2K. He probably plays, 20-ish minutes. I think he's decent value. And then I would guess that Damian Lee moves into the starting lineup for Jordan Poole. If that's the case, a fair value. Again, though, he is pretty score independent. So those three guys I think are intriguing. The other options, not as much. I don't think they start JTA and Draymond together. Usually JTA would start for if Draymond's out. But we'll see. Steve Kerr will probably troll us for the starting lineup and run something that no one's expecting. So we'll keep an eye on what they end up doing with the starting lineup for Golden State. And finally, San Antonio and the Clippers. So Dejounte Murray, I think, is a good contrarian spend up. Again, he's a guy that does have 50+ fantasy point upside. Does have a little bit of a lower floor, but I think he's certainly in play. Now, Derek White had a pretty bad game tonight, but throwing tonight's game out the window, he's been pretty solid the last couple weeks, so I don't mind going back to well there in White. And I think Jakob Poeltl is a pretty safe play. He should play 32 to 34 minutes, and a guy that can block some shots, get some rebounds, so safer option there. Now, Devin Vassell started for Doug McDermott, and he was like the chalk. He was a letdown, as I kind of expected it. I was like, hey, Devin Vassell starting, but most likely what Pop's going to do, he's going to dust off a couple, randos off the bench, and they'll somehow get more minutes than Vassell. So, yeah, that's most likely going to happen again. Like him, Lonnie Walker should get more one with McDermott out, but again, should, keyword is should. You just never know with Greg Popovich. And finally, the LA Clippers. So the key piece of news to keep an eye on here is Paul George. He's currently questionable. Really, really big news. We already have, obviously, Kawhi still out. Marcus Morris is out. Hartenstein out. So if Paul George is out, it's really going to give a boost to these secondary options here for the Clippers. Reggie Jackson, though, at almost 8K, he would still be in play, but the price is a little much. But he's probably going to shoot the ball close to 20 times. Luke Kennard at 6K, also going to play big minutes. Played 39 minutes last game. However, again, he is pretty scoring dependent. That's the downside. I think Terrence Mann probably your safest option at this price point. He played 41 minutes last game. A guy that can stuff the stat sheet, so I think he looked really, really good. Zubac with no Hartenstein might be asked to play more. I think Ibaka probably gets the backup 5 run now, but yeah, I think Zubac is a fair play. Should play probably mid to high 20s minutes. Eric Bledsoe has been struggling this year, but he's only 4.7K, and if Paul George is out, I think you can consider him. They started Justice Winslow last game. He played 26 minutes. I think he's a fair value if he starts again. Nick Batum, they've been taking it easy on his minutes. He only played 25. So keep an eye if he's going to be at a minutes limit again. And, Serge Ibaka, again, is probable. So my guess is he plays the backup 5 here as a complete dart throw, you could go to him in a large field tournament because he's not a bad point per minute guy. The issue is just the minutes haven't really been there for him this season. So that is going to do it for the video, guys. And most likely after I make this video, well, a lot of things are going to change, right? There's probably going to be a couple guys that get ruled out, tonight. There's probably going to be a lot more that get ruled out tomorrow. So be ready to make some changes. But thanks again, guys. Have a great night. Really appreciate you guys checking out the video, and I will see you all in the next one.